I have something really special for you today. I have a 7-foot long, 20-inch deep, and about 4 feet tall creation that brings to life the wonderful landscapes, the habitats, the villages of the Bionicle world. This is layered with so many Easter eggs, so much detail, and plenty of incredible building techniques. And probably the best Mtorin designs you're ever gonna see. Come with me as we check out this mind-blowing Bionicle system diorama. It's unlike anything you've seen before. This amazing creation is titled Islanders of Mata Nui, and it's built by Ben Brixen, who you might recognize from LEGO Masters US. There are so many sections to this diorama, so many worlds to explore. But let's kick things off with Garkoro's ocean waters. We begin on this giant lily pad, and look at that hut! Making use of plenty of palm tree leaf pieces, the shape of this is fantastic. And some of these other accessories and details, they look wonderful. You know, things like these squid on the rack. These squid, of course, came from the Baraki sets and their squid launchers. They were used as projectiles in the sets, but it only seems fitting to use them as food that has been hung up on this rack. See, it's the eye for detail. Things like lampposts, or maybe nets. Putting in things like this is what brings this to life. Because when you think about it, official Bionicle sets, they gave us the characters. But now, this diorama lets us explore the world of these characters. It's something we've not really seen before. So we can see what artifacts they use, the food that they eat, the places that they live in. There's something so magical about seeing all of that physically portrayed in this diorama. And there's something nice about seeing what the world then says about these characters. We learn a little bit more about who they are by seeing where they live. The connecting bridge that links this large lily pad to the edge of the beach, well, these are well made. They make use of some of these dark green Technic connector elements. These come in quite large quantities in some of the botanical sets. They often make up the stems of the flowers. It's great that you get so many in the one set, because hey, if you own 1 or 2 of those botanical sets, it'd be pretty easy to attempt to recreate something that looks like this. Off to the edge of the coast now, we have a wonderful little crab. The design here is excellent. It's great to see some of those satin trans blue gem pieces for the eyes. It's a nice touch. Oh, but the coastline. It's so peaceful and serene. Including white pieces to mimic foam and waves. Lovely. And it just totally sells the idea that there is water here, even though we're only seeing the edge of that water. But see, I like that the diorama does this. If this whole thing was blue, you wouldn't be able to see the sea life underneath this. And oh my, this is gorgeous. All of these different colors of the coral and the sea plants, they're breathtaking. And there's a brilliant amount of clever part usage here as well. Like using some of these trans-orange headpieces. These came on some of the Glatorian sets. Or even using some trans-green headpieces that came a little bit before these. We saw these on some Mtorin. But putting a few of them together and turning them into little exotic sea plants. Wow. We even have these pods, and these use some of the Tridax pods that came in the Fantoka era Makuta. Isn't it excellent to see this wonderful harmony of system and Bionicle pieces? Because, you know, I see so many builders out there who, they keep their Bionicle very separate from their system. Because, I don't know, they struggle to use the two together. But when you see stuff like this, it's a great reminder that they can look exceptional when they're used together. There's plenty more to look at down here on the sea floor, but check it out. We've got a giant hand emerging out of the sand. For those of you who are familiar with the Bionicle story and the lore, you might think that this could be a representation of the Great Spirit robot that resides underneath the island. Or it could be something else. I don't know, that's one of the beautiful things about Bionicle. There's so much mystery and intrigue, and so many hidden treasures, like this mask. Still, going back to the hand, it's so cool to see this mix of sand green, medium nougat, and dark orange. Those colors make it look like rusted metal. Not too far from here we have a very well designed fish. I love the use of Kina's mask to help shape the bulk of the head and the body. We also have a much larger fish down below. and this makes use of a lot of the beautiful glow-in-the-dark Bionicle pieces. But one touch that I really appreciate is the use of Nakama Metru's mask. This does make for a pretty good fin. And this piece isn't glow-in-the-dark, but when it's surrounded by those other pieces, it still fits in quite nicely. As we keep looking around here, towards the side, you'll notice how the lily pad is held up. And man, the sturdy looking support beam here, it looks sick from below. Mate, I swear, every square inch of this is packed full of so much insane detail. Alright, as we emerge from below the waters and we walk up along the sandy beaches, we head over into the deserts of Pokoro. And here we're greeted by an amazing shrine. You might recognize this as a reference to the stone that represents the Great Spirit. This Mata Nui stone and Makuta stone, they were used as sort of symbolic depictions of these very powerful characters. You often saw them in some of the Bionicle movies at the start when they were recounting the history of Bionicle itself. And mate, the shaping here is just extraordinary. The complex lines, the shape of the eyes, the nose, the mouth, they are perfect. And look at the lighting all around this. All these different colors, everything here transforms this into something that does indeed feel like a very sacred shrine. It's almost magical. Nearby is a Mtorin selling some of their wares, and dude, this is so clever. Check it out, they're using some of the Bionicle minifigures. We saw these appearing in some of the System Bionicle playsets. And you know, at this scale, they work well as minifigures. But in this scale, they seem more like this Mtorin has taken some stone and crafted some little statues or action figures. And I mean, hey, if you're gonna give your Bionicles some Bionicles to play with, I mean, that's the best thing ever. We've got a few more slices of life as we see some of these other Pokoro inhabitants. I really like these system-heavy Mtorin designs. We'll take a closer look at some of them at the end of the video, so stay tuned. But yeah, that very system-heavy approach, it allows a lot of room for customization, which is very good to see. And now rising above this is a very large, I guess you could call it a mountain, or at least the edge of a mountain. We have these elegant stairs at the base, and look at this, the weathering, the damage, the broken off little notches on the sides. It feels so lived in and real. But as we move up and you see some Mtorin walking up the top, we see that this leads to the Great Telescope. If you've played the Mata Nui online game before, you're certainly going to remember this. It's lovely to see some of these stickered and printed elements all around this. The patterns on these parts, they offer a nice mystical and mysterious flair to this specific section. If you're looking for these parts in particular, they appeared on this Marvel Eternals set. Who would have thought that they'd work so well in a Bionicle context? Oh, and shout out to these phenomenal Mtorin designs. The little backpacks, their flags hanging out the top. Even the choice of adding in some of these minifigure sack pieces, just hanging off the bag there. Man, these are great. You know, Ben Brixton's eye for detail, it doesn't stop. The stone pillar that the Great Telescope rests on, well, there's a neat little bird's nest on the side. Amazing! And hey, let's take a bit of a behind the scenes look at how this was done. You'll notice these pieces here were used to pull off this angle that the stairs rest at. If you want some of these pieces, well, some of them appeared in the Spring Lantern Festival set. It might be worth picking some of them up. They appear in countless sets. But it's the perfect piece to rest something at an angle, but also make sure it's locked in and strong. Transitioning down the mountain, we stop by what I believe is Nuparu's workshop. He's selling some new robotic arms and modifications. You'll notice a few of the Mtorin wearing some of these later in the video. We also have this dude pulling along a cart of food. And yo, check this out. They're using Iruni's shield piece as a flat surface for the cart. I mean, that works pretty well. It's a good part use. We also have old mate Jala and Takua, but Takua is of course on his crab. This Puku crab revamp is obviously an homage to the set that you're seeing on your screen right now, which is a great set. But let's take a look at this revamp. Here's a few solo images. Good to see some Carapace armor in action here. I've always felt that the texture of this is a very nice match for the look of a crab. I mean, Carapace is inspired by a crab, it's kind of a no-brainer. But I mean, this just looks so good. Nearby, you might have noticed this cool Mtorin head statue. Ben has essentially just blown up this large Mtorin head piece. We see this appearing on some of the official Mtorin sets. I mean, 10 out of 10 for a literally perfect recreation of this. I like this because, once again, we see this kind of stuff in the Mata Nui online game. A lot of the architecture and the landscape, you see this stuff just embedded into it. So this is like pretty accurate to the source material. Oh, and then just below this is a cavern. And what's down here? Well, we'll get to that in a second, because before we do, I want to take a look at this majestic tree. Up top is a bit of a chameleon rahi. I love its little tongue poking out as it tries to catch these dragonflies. This is well built. Actually, hey, let's take a closer look at the head. It's using Gresha's mask for the top of the jaw, but then the bottom half, it uses Elik's mask. It's a nice little combination of parts. And I also like how this creature looks as it's nestled amongst these leaves. These make use of some pterodactyl wing pieces, which is a great part use. At this scale, they're kind of the perfect thing to use for leaves. Moving on down, we can see some Mtorin partying it up and playing some musical instruments. See, that's what I appreciate about this diorama. Every culture is showcased. And within these Mtorin cultures, you see all these characters living their lives in ways that reflect the habitat that they reside in. It totally feels like this mock is just transporting you to a whole new world, and you get to see every asset of it. Plus, it's not every day that you see Bionicles with musical instruments. That's really fun. The base of the tree is equally impressive, with roots growing out and mushrooms spawning off the sides, and even just the brilliant blend of dark brown and reddish brown for the bark. So good. Alright, but I promised you that cavern. What is inside? Well, it just might be my favorite detail, because you'll notice here we've got a bit of an elevator, and it is indeed motorized. This moves all the way down the bottom, and then it stops at the base of this underground mine. How cool is that? And here we've got all these on Mtorin looking fantastic. How good is that lovely splash of purple? It's such a good contrasting color up against this mass of dark bluish gray. So the tavern walls, they house these nice yellow crystals. And up the back, you'll see a nice little waterfall. The waterfalls are built using these windscreen pieces. Now these ones came in some old Infinity War LEGO sets, but they've appeared in other sets as well. This is just a pretty cheap one that it appeared in. But I tell you what, it looks nothing like a windscreen anymore. It totally looks like real flowing water. But you know what's better? When the lights get turned on, then this entire cavern just transforms. With only the crystals illuminating this, everything feels so magical. This entire diorama feels magical. I mean, this here is the beauty of lighting up your LEGO. It makes the wonderful world of Bionicle feel so alive, so real. I mean, some of these photos that Ben himself provided for me, thank you for that by the way, they look like they could be stills from a movie. It's just beautiful. The Mtorin are of course digging into the cave walls, and they've discovered a new layer of rock. It's a nice touch to include some dark brown cheese slopes on the floor to really sell the idea that that drill contraption is drilling and breaking apart the rock. So yeah, brown rocks. Well, they bridge us over into the next area. Here we've got various layers of volcanic rock. And just look at that smooth transition, playing with slopes to get that literal split of color. So pretty. But this leads us into the lava caverns of Tar Koro. And just look at that insane ceiling. Dark red and reddish brown, those colors are a perfect pair. And throwing in a little bit of dark brown just to offset it, well, you get some very naturally striking colors. But things get even better when the lights come on. The different translucent colors of that lava, it's so realistic. You can almost feel the heat of this lava with how this looks. It's truly amazing how Ben has made this plastic world feel like real life. So we have a magma-filled bright cavern, but just next door is kind of like the polar opposite. We've got much more subdued lighting here, and a very kind of green, overgrown, dank room, where the evil Makuta dwells inside. Look at that injection of red lighting on Makuta's eyes. That red color just pierces through these shadows, and it makes this area so much more terrifying. Oh, and the rest of the room, it's spectacular. The doors with their hinges, the ornate decoration. And even this area here that has some dark tan, so it kind of looks like mold or water damage. Very nice. Although check out this pool of water. It's in the shape of the 3 virtues symbol. This is a very iconic image to the Bionicle story. It appears in all sorts of media, movies, everything. So yeah, that was a nice touch. And to go even deeper with this, the evil room is directly underneath that Mata Nui shrine that we were talking about before. Good up above and evil down below. That very symbolic visual alignment, it's something you might not even notice, but it's just such a brilliant touch. And that's this entire diorama. It amazes me how rare it is to see a beautiful harmony of system and Bionicle in the one place. Because, with the rich history, story, and lore that comes with Bionicle, you'd think there'd be more builders using these 2 systems in tandem to represent that world. But that just never happens. So props to Ben Brixen for this insane accomplishment. You have truly brought to life that magical and wonderful world of Bionicle in a way that no one has ever done before. This is a work of art. Now, I'll have a link below to Ben's social media, so head over to his account and check out his posts featuring this creation. In fact, we had a little bit of a collab here, because we teed up this video and his official post to be live at the same time. So go give his post a bit of love and be sure to give him a follow as well. If you like this stuff that he's made, well, you're gonna love everything else that he's built. I'll leave you with a few images of the Mtorin that inhabit this world. I quite like this ragtag appearance that they've got. All the different colored limbs and accessories, they've gone through all sorts of adventures and battles and they've had to do a bit of repair work. And seeing that stuff, it makes you want to learn more about these characters. You want to dive deeper into their storied history. Yeah, and that in itself is the DNA of Bionicle as a theme. The characters look cool on their own, but when you read more about them, and you dive into that world, it just gets better and better. Customizing these characters to imply a deeper story, it's very smart. Anyway, that's all the time we've got for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into this breathtaking mock. Thank you for watching, happy building, and bye for now.